Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another video. If it's your first time seeing this beautiful face, welcome, and I hope you're gonna love it here. And please do not leave without subscribing and join this cool family. And to my returning subscribers, I appreciate each and every one of y'all, and thank you so much for the support. So today I decided to make something for the first time in this channel, just to share about my past experiences and all that. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do in this video. I just want to share with you guys the mistakes that I made in my 20s. Okay. Yeah, let's just get right into the video. So the first mistake that I made was falling pregnant at the age of 20, and I gave birth to my daughter at the age of 21. Why I'm saying it's a mistake, which is maybe it was right now, I feel that it's one of the best good mistake that I've done when I was younger. That's what I feel now, because my daughter is grown. She's more she's actually my sister now, you know. She's that somebody that when I need somebody to talk to, she's always there for me. She's my friend, she's my everything. Right now I don't see her as a mistake, if you know what I mean. But back then I feel that I made a mistake in having a baby at the young age. You know, while I was still a baby myself, I was still need mentoring. I still had wishes of finishing my tertiary education and all that, you know. Alrighty, let me tell you guys a bit about myself and about how I grew up and all that, so then you understand why I'm saying at the age of 20 it was a mistake for me to fall pregnant. Okay, so I my mom passed on when I was 13 years old, and I was the only child, her only child, and she didn't get married to my dad, so I was only staying with my mom. So when my mom passed on, one of my aunts took me and take care of me, you know. I don't want to dwell too much on that, but the only thing that I will say is that I didn't grow up very well. I was ill treated, you know. A lot of stuff happened there, you know. Something that's I wouldn't wish anybody to go through. I had, you know, I still have traumas because of my childhood, you know, after my mom passed on, and all that. Yes. So I stayed with my aunt until I was 18. I finished grade 12. When I was 18, I passed my matric. So while I was in high school, just after my mom died, when everything else was happening, you know, all the abuse and all the ill treatment in my aunt's house, on my mind, what I was on my mind, what was happening was for me telling myself that, you know what, you really have to work hard and finish high school and get out of here, you know, find a place to stay or something. So when I was 18, I finished high school. By age of 19, I started working in one of the famous restaurant here in South Africa. So yes, I I stayed, okay, and then I moved and stayed with one of my cousins, right? And at that time I was dating my then boyfriend, which is father of my daughter, you know. And then I fell pregnant then, okay, when I was staying alone. Actually, I wasn't even staying alone. I was staying with a friend. We rented a room, me and the friend. So I fell pregnant. When I fell pregnant, my cousin took me back in, you know, and then I was staying with them. So now you understand why I'm saying that falling pregnant at the age of 20 and gave birth at the age of 21 was a biggest mistake. First of all, I didn't have a warm, proper place to stay, a good place to raise this baby at now. At the age of 21, I was still trying to know who am I myself, who I was as a young woman, and and at that time, I don't want to lie to you, as much as in school they did teach us about contraceptives and this and that, but they didn't dive in deeper on how to use those contraceptives and all those things. All they said back then was like, oh, when you have a boyfriend you must use condom, or when you have a boyfriend you must go to the clinic and get the injection. And I didn't have that's somebody that will sit down with me and explain to me that, okay, now since you're in elders, now you're having periods, this is how you do. If you feel like that you wanna have sex, you must have protected sex, or explain to me about life, explain to me about what exactly do they mean when they say sleeping with a boy, because they'll say if you sleep with a boy you fall pregnant. I didn't even know what they were referring to. How exactly do I fall pregnant and all that, but anyways, I fall pregnant, and yeah, I stayed with my friend. And when my daughter was about 3 4 months, her grandmother from her father's side took her, because now I was in college and I was working. I was doing both. So she said, no, 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 bring the baby to me. I can gladly take care of her. You can come anytime when you want to see her. You can spend as much time as you need here in my house. Yes. So yes, she stayed with them until she was about 6 years, and then she came back to stay with me then. All right, so I'm gonna move to point number 2. The second mistake that I did in my 20s was to make debt. I was in a lot of debt. Okay, not really a lot of debt, but to debt. I think that it's very, very important to actually teach our youth, or to teach our teenagers about the debt, because when I started working at the age of 19, and then everyone else, my peers, we're all going to clothing shops like Abo Jet, Abo Edgaze, Abo Mr. Price, opening the clothing accounts, taking all the clothes, and then you're gonna pay every month, and that's the mistake I made. I've opened Jet clothing, and then they gave me this too much what you call this thing, the amount to buy. Yes, that I forgot the name actually. Yes. And then as a teenager, you don't care whether you pay on time or you don't pay on time, or I didn't know much about the dangers of just going into the stores and opening debt and not paying. And another debt that I made was my aunt. My aunt, the one that I told you that she raised me after my mom. Yes, she actually forced me to open a furniture shop account. She forced me to take a bed. She was like, no, you're about to have a small baby, you can't sleep in the old bed that you've been sleeping to. Okay, at that time maybe it makes sense, but now as I'm older, I'm trying to understand why. It's just bed. It's a bed that I've been using for the past 2 years or 3 years. What's wrong? Yeah, you are working now and you are about to be a mother. You must buy a bed. Okay, well, which I did, even though I didn't need it, if you know what I mean. Okay, I bought a bed, and then the reason why she forced me to do that, because she wanted a fridge. right? She had a fridge, but she just wanted another one because it's in style. Sometimes mothers, they will compete among themselves. Alrighty, so I took that fridge as well. And then I kept on paying and paying. Remember, now I'm paying for this, that. I'm paying for Jet. I'm paying for, I can't remember the other one. And I was paying for the third one now, which is one of the furniture shop, which I can't remember the name. And I just had a small baby. And I'm in college. I'm paying in college. So it came to a point whereby I couldn't afford now to pay for my debts. And I couldn't afford it. And then at the back of my mind, I was like, nah, it's fine. I'm studying. Let me rather let me rather not pay all this debt now and focus on my studies and pay for my college every month. Once I'm done, I'm gonna look for a job, and then I'm gonna go back now and pay those debts. Right? That's what I was telling you in my mind. Okay, cool. I did that. I stopped paying. As I was stopped paying, remember when you stop paying now, Pela, the areas, everything goes up and goes up and goes up. And then they'll busy call you. I was young and dumb. I changed my number, got a new number so that they won't call me. All right, cool. Until I finished college, everything was cool now, looking for a job, going on interviews, good companies want me. I remember there was this one good company that I went to, and they were offering to pay me a decent salary. I was like, you know what, only if I can get this job, I'm going to leave the restaurant that I'm doing, and then I'm going to be able to take care of myself, take care of my daughter, living a decent life. I went to the interview, everything was perfect. I got the job. Okay, cool. They called me and said I got a job. And then they called me the next day now and said, you are blacklisted, so we cannot be able to take you. Blacklisted, what does that mean? And then they explained to me. I said, yeah, but I wanted this job because I wanted to pay. They said, no, it doesn't work like that. If you're blacklisted, we cannot take you. You guys, I felt like my whole world was crushing. I was like, hey, bo, I didn't know. I didn't know that if you don't pay, you're gonna get blacklisted, and when you're blacklisted, you that ruins your chance of finding a good job. I went to another interview. Maybe I went to like 3 interviews until I decided, you know what? Let me rather not apply. So basically, I went to college, and then I obtained that diploma, whatever, and then now wanted a job. There were job opportunities. There were companies that wanted me, but I couldn't. I had to go back vele and work manje kuma restaurant. You see, so you see how I fucked up. Yes. So yeah, then I had to wait for like 5 years until my name was removed from blacklist. Then I could look for job, and then yeah, that's what I did. Cool. So please, if you know that you are still young, maybe you are 19, 20, 22, 23, just stay away from that. Stay away from peer pressure of going to the shops and opening accounts, clothing accounts. Use cash. Use cash. Just if you don't have cash for that jacket, just accept that I do not have it now, or rather lay-buy. There's thing called lay-buy now. If the jacket is 500 rand, if you have 200 rand now, we can put in 200 rand. They're gonna keep it aside for you, and then you come back with 300 rand. You take your jacket and go home, instead of buying a lot of clothes. Instead of buying a lot of clothes for like 3,500 rand without paying a cent, and then you have to pay this amount each and every month. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense, but anyways, cool. So now I'm gonna move to point number 3, which is fat and set. This is I call this one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my early 20s. because I was still young, I okay. I always ask myself, why did I choose to stay with a man? Okay. Alrighty. The reason I think that I chose to stay with a man is because I felt pregnant for the second time when I was 23 years now. I felt pregnant for the second time, and I was still staying with a friend of mine. So my boyfriend was like, no, I think it's better you come and stay with me. He was staying with his parents, but then we decided, no, 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 it's better we rent our own space. Then that's how I stayed with him. And the experience wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. Vele, in relationship there's ups and downs and all that. But if now you can ask me if I can stay with a man at the age of 22, I will tell you no. No, no ways. Yes, but then I will go deeper on my other video on why I will say no. Yes. Oh, now I'm gonna move to my last mistake that I made at the age of on my 20s, was to get married. Was to actually get married with the father of my children. Yes. We okay rather say okay let me rather say the biggest mistake that I've made was to get married with a emotional abusive man, knowing very well that he was abusive while we were just a girlfriend and a boyfriend, or a mother of the child, or not. You understand? I knew that he was abusing me emotionally and verbally, in such a point whereby I felt like I wanted to take my own life. But because I wasn't strong enough to leave, and besides being strong enough to leave, I didn't know at first, because we met when I was still very young, and I didn't know that what he